gonna tell y'all that intro music just got me like, you ever just sit in your car and you just put something on and you wasn't even like, you were just putting music on and put music on, and all of a sudden the right track comes on, and now you like, that's me with the intro music, bro. Yo, welcome. Good morning. Yes, we on half an hour earlier. I know what the ticker says. All right. But look, this runs the show. Okay. This don't run the show. This is all about right here. And you are listening to the first show of the NBA Finals. Y'all, it's the TSA Hoop Show. I'm your boy JR. Thank you for tuning in a little bit earlier, a little bit liver, a little bit fresher, a little bit more in your face. We have a lot to break down and get into. So stop wasting time, start making time. All right, we're just gonna go ahead and kick it off like this. We're talking about them things, right? Hold on, let me point to the right direction. So I go this way, we're gonna do things right there. Okay, playoffs. Okay, first thing we're gonna do, bam, we're gonna recap, and we're gonna talk about boom, this how we got here. But before we do that, we got to bring someone onto the show. We got to bring in the man with the master plan, the guy that's all started with how we get retarded. Crazy, stupid, dumb, retarded. Crazy, stupid, dumb, retarded. We go.
Oh, what's good with you, bro? I know it's been a minute.
Man, you spend 5 seconds in the Bay, you feel like you live there. Of course, you got to go to Oakland though, because you cannot. I'm sorry, but the city is just, everyone knew it was coming. It's become gentrified, so it is what it is. But Oakland still got love for y'all. So if you want to get some crazy, stupid, dumb music, go to Oakland. Okay, that's all I gotta say about that. In the meanwhile, we're here. It's finals. Y'all supposed to be have done your homework. Okay, you took all your pop quizzes, you took your tests, you got beat up, you took your bad grades home to your mama, she whooped your tail, you went back, you studied hard, you spent the late nights in the library, and you finally got your slow behind up, and now we're here. Get ready, get your pencils, sharpen your pencils, get your erasers ready, and sharpen your minds as well. We are here. So Rico, one team is here because they're technically supposed to be here. I have questions. People, I have questions. I'm sorry it's so early, but if you didn't have your coffee by now, you weren't getting your coffee anyway. Okay, I have questions. Why is Tyrese Halliburton in the finals? Why?
Because the NBA script writers said we need to switch up this year.
Yes,
Uh,
script writers.
I tell you what, man. Like, and I said this. I made a TikTok a couple days ago, and then I stitched it, and I was talking about it. I was like, if you were to have said at the beginning of the season that the Indiana Pacers were going to be representing the East in the NBA Finals this year, I'd have said you're either old and crazy, you're senile, or you got some type of like um mind future telling stuff going on, because there is no way on God's green earth that you're gonna sit here and tell me that you had predicted the Pacers to make the finals. Like, because everybody was high on Boston. Like, I get it. Team, they won it last year. Everybody wanted them to say, okay, they're set to run it back. But if you look at the course of the last 7 years, we're in line to have a new champion once again for the seventh consecutive year. The last 7 matchups in the finals, none of them have been repeats either. I was looking at this earlier, like
Yep.
no resemblance of that whatsoever. It's
Right.
been new champion, new matchup every single year. So while I understand the thought process of what everybody's looking at Boston,
Yep.
or maybe even the Knicks
Yep.
or the Cavs, or,
Yep.
those were the top teams coming out of the East.
Yep.
Respectfully so, everybody's like, okay, these are the three teams that are going to be looked at to represent the East in the finals.
Okay.
And
So
then you look at Indiana.
let's do this. Let's go from the beginning, because I think that we have enough time and breath to address that. Guys, I wanted to talk about the importance of today's show. You don't have to necessarily watch today's show live right now, but we are doing the setup today. Let me just go ahead and throw that out there. We have more show coming this week. There's not enough talk, there's not enough analysis, there's not enough time to get you ready in one show. So we got to do two. Okay. My gift to you. You're welcome. Okay. So today's show, we got to go back in order to go forward. Okay. We're starting at the beginning. Season's about to kick off, right? Boston at the helm. All the stuff, we're running it back. We got to prove it now that that last year wasn't a fluke. The 3-point barrage that happened, uh JT not getting finals, I'm sorry, JT getting finals MVP over JB. Okay, there's a lot in that. The stuff from the Olympics. Okay. um that's on that side, wondering who's gonna dethrone them. Okay, we have Bodega Cat now because Cat hadn't played a game yet, so we're trying to figure out who the Knicks were. We thought we were getting the Nova Knicks during the middle of the summer, and and right before we had this huge shift in Minnesota, then ships Cat out. Okay, Carl Anthony Towns instead of Rudy Gobert, and I got a whole thing about that. Like, anyway, okay, so
Hmm.
New York is now loaded up, and then they get Mikal Bridges. Okay, so
For 5 picks, 5 first, which is
first, no more Nova Knicks. Okay, is
so
what
crazy.
I'm getting at. Okay, so NBA script writers was sort of teasing that a little bit. You know how you like get teased the character, and it's like, gotcha. No Knicks, no Wolves. Okay, so um, we got that. I'm trying to think of, there's like a few other teams that shook up some things. We weren't talking about the Cavs. Okay, we were not talking about the Cavs, and because of the Donovan Mitchell effect, and we'll get to that in a minute. Um, that takes care of a few teams over in the East. I mean, you had the whole Jimmy Butler thing, but it hadn't become a thing yet
Until
because
close to the deadline, which
it was just so close to it that we were unsure as to what that was going to do to that Miami team. So we had all that, and then we throw in a little bit of Bucks action, blah blah blah. The whole, okay, they weren't fully healthy last year, so let's see what they do this year. In the West, what it was OKC retooling, Denver, Minnesota with their trade and everything like that, and then drama. That's it. That's all it was. There was, I mean, Lakers drama, right? Not as much, but still drama. Oh, first year coach, they're not going to do nothing. They're going to be a lottery team. Okay, that was noise. Phoenix, what are they going to do? Running it back, new head coach, first year. This is the year that they supposed to get it done. Okay, that's just more noise. A lot of the team that we thought that was going to be in it, and I'm swiping because, like, when you are doing I feel like we pick champions from the fan perspective, like Tinder. Okay, we got to see if they really look good. Okay, and for some of these, the way that they're thrown in our face, we picked the six, we picked the 6'7" sexy suave chocolate butter skin, got a nice filter on looking mug. Okay, and we swipe on them. Okay, we swipe positively on them. I think that's left. I don't know. I never did.
I
Tinder
don't remember.
Tinder was weird. And anyway, but for those that just don't fit the criteria, we just swipe right. So what I'm saying, it's like with a lot of these teams, there's a lot of noise, and then there were a few contenders, and then we get to the playoffs, right? Boy, did we get it wrong. The Cavs basically obliterate. Do you know what I did this fun trivia thing on NBA.com for those of you that are actually really into trying to know in your trivia. Go on to NBA.com. Have them test you on your knowledge on some teams, okay? The Oklahoma City Thunder were 30-1. I think that was the number, 30-1 versus the Eastern Conference. You know what? You have to be 30 and anything. One
Who was the one lost to?
Cavs. Come on
Oh.
now. That was the first of several. Well, hold on. It was either Cavs or Boston, one of those two. But it was one of those where it was like, oh, we got the one versus the two now, and it was at a time in the season where this was the fun part. And I remember this distinctly because you had OKC, Houston, and Denver all playing with the 1 through 3 spots, right?
Hmm.
In the middle of the season. You had Cavs, and then it was like Cavs and Boston for a little bit. Then Cavs won one of them games, Boston won another one of them games, and then it was like everyone else just looking down like this. Other teams looking up like a 5-3 date, trying to talk about I only date men 6'7" and older with your midget ass. Anyway, you get to the middle of the season and it kind of mixes up because you had a lot of 1 versus 2s, East versus West type of deal, and that was the one. But we got it wrong. We had OKC there at the top, which was nice. We thought Boston was going to be there at the top, and they weren't. It was the Cavs going in, had a 24-game win streak there in the middle of the season. We
They was
hear
on fire.
it was
They
on
was hot.
fire. So they were doing everything that you were supposed to do for a team that they were doing the thing in the season that Indiana Pacers are doing now to get here. Okay. So now we got the play-in tournament, right? No Lakers there. I'm sorry, all you media geeks. That's what I like to call you because you like to really dissect what goes on in the media and don't actually watch the damn game. That's just what it is. Warriors take care of business. They're at 7. Then we try to figure out why Memphis is playing with their food and finally get there at 8. Okay. On the East, Miami just does Miami stuff. I don't know if it's the water. Teams just see the flashy jerseys and they're like, oh, I don't know. Miami gets the A seed out of that. Trey Young gets sent home again.
Free my boy Trey, man.
I'm so petty.
Free my
I'm,
boy Trey.
I am so petty. I'm so mad at Atlanta. Atlanta started out strong. You want to talk about how we got here? Atlanta beat the Boston Celtics on opening night in Boston. What? Or maybe it was Atlanta. I don't know. One of the two. But it was the first. It was the first game of the season. Like I thought y'all was talking all that stuff. What happened? The same thing that happens to Boston, and let's fast forward for a couple of these teams in the playoffs. The same thing that happened to Boston opening night is the same thing that happened to Boston minus the JT injury. It's the same exact thing. It's the reason why they got eliminated in the way that they did. Okay. They got beat up. They had no interior and lost a 3-point contest. They just lost it. Not like, I mean, Rico, you watched some games. Outside of the Denver and Clipper series, with some of these matchups, I mean, Cleveland took care of Miami, just mushed on Miami. So we're not even going to talk about that series. But
Yeah.
the 2-7, which was Boston and Orlando,
Right.
did you see any of that series? And if you didn't, that's fine.
No, I did. I did. It was like a few. I'm not gonna sit here and say I watched the series in its entirety, but I watched like what parts of the game that I could.
Right.
So
And outside of Orlando being worse than what they were when they came, they gave. Tell me if I'm wrong. Orlando was a preview for Boston for the Knicks.
no, absolutely, absolutely. Because you look at that series, you look at even what Orlando was able to do with a limited sample size, and I say that because obviously they've had injuries galore throughout the season, so they were missing some of their key guys. But even you look at what the Knicks have had, I guess, with their roster, and like I said, everybody was pretty much healthy going into that series.
Mm-hmm.
With Cat, with McHale, with Josh Hart, um, Like I said, Jalen Brunson was doing Jalen Brunson things. Um, like you look at that series for the Knicks and Celtics. Like Orlando kind of had the blueprint, and then the
Hmm.
Knicks kind of took it, ran with what they had, knew they could do
Hmm.
it better, and ended up winning that in six.
Yep. 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 That's partly how we got here. That's why we don't have Boston representing the East. They went through the meat grinder and did not escape. They did not survive. Okay. Their plan B was missing.
That is
What up,
true.
Joe? Joe's excited because I said Boston. He said I'm coming to run and let me talk my stuff. If y'all don't know, Joe does not like Boston. Okay.
And kind of going back to what you said, like with the Celtics and their mindset, it's like you everybody knows that old phrase, you live by the three, you die by the three. Like that was them through and through the entirety of the playoffs. And it's like you just had to hope that another team missed or the Celtics missed, and that's how you win a series. But
Yeah.
even looking forward to next year,
Mm.
like I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but it's like
But
you look at how that roster is going to be constructed, obviously you're not going to have that same mindset, period.
it's not I'm going to tell you guys right now. We're going to continue to recap how we got here. Um, we're going to continue to recap what happened throughout these playoffs and how we got here to Indiana versus OKC. But I do want to say that because we have Indiana versus OKC, we now have two different blueprints. Okay, both of them both of them trade market, small market, and longevity. Those are the hot button words. Okay, because we like I don't know if it was like the last little bit of wax on the candle of folks burning, holding that candle up for superstardom. Okay, everyone was expecting I mean, we got a finals without LeBron James, without Steph Curry, without Kevin Durant. We are able to mention teams completely. Like if you guys have been watching these teams during the season, you should know at least the Oklahoma City Thunder. Like by now, if you don't know at least the starting five, I don't know how many times we're gonna mention who won the trade to Alex Caruso and up in Chicago, Giddy.
Oh, my boy.
And
I'm still hot about that. I'm still hot about that. Like just
and
the
and, and somehow y'all are out there on your armchairs and stuff like that. Y'all fake Lakers haters who actually don't even watch Lakers basketball, okay, or just celebrate when you see on the ticker that Lakers lost. Y'all sitting there talking about Thomas Bryant. Okay, I see
get out
y'all.
of my face with that. Please
I
get out
see
of my
y'all.
face with that.
I see
I
y'all.
saw that. I'm like, no.
Talking about Thomas Bryant wanted to make sure that his last legacy wasn't being the guy that wouldn't pass the ball to LeBron or wouldn't get passed the ball by LeBron when LeBron was going for the scoring record. Lakers, like basketball fans that also had the Lakers as their team, did not care about that scoring record. They knew it was an inevitability that was going to happen. But y'all tried to frame Thomas Bryant like he was going to hate the Lakers forever. Thomas Bryant was not going to stay a Laker. Thomas Bryant got traded to a team where he got to grow and he didn't even get the amount of playing time that y'all think that he deserved. Okay, if we're going to be honest, we were watching Pacers basketball. Okay, I was watching Pacers basketball this season. Thomas Bryant was not getting the minutes like y'all think he was. Getting on my nerves with that. Um, Bucks, another disappointment this year. Okay, um, the blood clot. I mean, Dame. Hopefully, he gets fully healthy with that. I got a personal thing about that and blood clots and stuff like that. We'll probably share at a later date once we get through that. But it's crazy. We have blood clots were a big factor for some players this year. Wemby got shut down because of that. Dame had to get shut down up until a point at the start of the playoffs because of that. He wasn't really the same anyway.
Which I
Um,
don't think that should have been a thing of them trying to bring him back. Like I understand it's the playoffs, but like,
yeah,
nah, bro, sit.
maybe he did because he was at a point in his personal life where he just had to really stick to hoops. And him getting out of Portland, I think was sort of like there were a lot of things that happened for Dame, that it seemed like according to reports and what I've seen as far as him referring to those reports and those little things is that he was getting out of a bunch of things that were going on while he was in Portland.
Mm.
So maybe that's another thing. But him being rushed back as far as the blood clots, that was bad. If you guys want to talk about blood clots, Chris Bosh, okay,
People forget about that.
we lost out on not 3, not 4, not 5 Miami Heat. Okay, we lost out on that because of blood clots. So we'll probably talk about that topic later on in the summer, when we got some off-topic stuff to talk about when there's not enough W action going on. But Pacers went in and decided to say, sleep on us if you want to. I got something to sleep you with. Okay. Um. First of all, Indiana Pacers started off with a bang, two come from behind victories in both overtime and regular time, both over the Milwaukee Bucks, with really big shots by Tyrese Halliburton.
Mr. Overrated. Hey, I'm gonna be real with you. Anytime somebody's saying something about that, I'm tagging Wally Zerbiak every single time because he was the main proprietor that started this nonsense. And every single time somebody said something about him, I was like, "Hey, Wally, um, Tyrese Hill overrated." Talk about petty. I'm like, well, obviously Wally don't know me, but I'm like, hey, I can be petty too. What's up, bro?
No, that's how you get the attention that you deserve, Rico. You tag the people and you talk to the people that matter. That are like, yeah, yeah, he one of them ones. Rico know what he's talking about. All right, listen. Um, so you wonder. We say this in when we talk about football teams, the teams that can win those close games by one score or less. It shows two things. Um, the ability to execute down the stretch matters. Literally, Indiana's got in these playoffs alone some of the smallest margins of victories of any team representing the Eastern Conference Finals in the last 3 or 4 years. I mean, Boston was boat racing everyone. All right. Yeah, Boston was boat racing people before that. Denver played Boston in the finals, right? When Denver won their championship. I'm just going off memory right now.
I think
Uh, Another team that has had a huge margin of victory. I mean, Indiana was scraping by, but scraping and being tough is how you're supposed to do it.
okay. It's interesting that you're talking about margin of victory because I kind of wanted to make sure I was looking stuff up. Like we've seen the games, so a lot of the games have been close to those one score games.
Mhm.
Couple points stuff like that. Their average margin of victory this far so far in the playoffs, 17 points throughout the entirety of the playoffs. Now, granted, like I said, everybody sees those close score games, those one score games. You look at this series with the Knicks, you look at the opening round series. Like, granted, there have been some close games, but for their margin of victory to have been 17 points, I'm not even gonna look at OKC's because we know what they've been doing the whole playoffs. Like, let's just make that abundantly clear. But 17 points throughout the entire playoffs. And there's been a lot of one score games and
Mhm.
overtime games and a lot
A
of stuff
lot.
that's going on into that.
Mhm.
So
A lot of overtime games too. Like, hey, dog, like, dragging this out. Like, this is what happened. The reason why we got this team here. Lastly, the one big reason, and again, you had Jalen Brunson in the post game interview defending the actions of Tom Thibodeau, and it's been a question over and over again. The way that Tibbs, we mentioned it. We mentioned it about like 5 times during the season and twice during these playoffs. I know I did it myself. Tibbs, what we doing?
Josh Hart don't need to be playing 48 minutes.
Why are we doing that? Coach, who else we got on the roster? Coach, why does it seem like a desperation move when you go to the seventh and eighth man on the roster? Why does it seem like that? And it's because Indiana just got they got bodies 10 deep, man, and that's what you need.
Hey, man,
Hold on, man. I gotta grab something. I'll be right back.
you good?
That's right. Your boy delivers like Uber. Um, so yeah, you got Indiana with this small margin of victory, but they know how to execute down the stretch, and that's super important in making the champion because you have to. You can't just play mistake-free basketball. You have to be able to take some risks and know what the consequences are, and then have the ability to deal with those consequences as they unfold. It was inconsequential for TJ McConnell to get a starting part or get extra minutes. It was inconsequential to sit Tyrese Halliburton for stretches. It was inconsequential. Like Rick Carlisle had this team believing in itself so much that being able to rotate it's it's hard it's hard to be able to decrease to cut into a lead when the sixth, seventh, and eighth man feel like they should be starting and they play like they should be starting. When you have big men shooting threes and executing them because that's what the play calls for, because it's 6, 7 passes and they're looking like the 2011 Dallas Mavericks. They're looking like the 2003 San Antonio Spurs out there whipping that ball around, and you getting stretch big threes, big men threes out there. That's what Boston thought that they had, except Indiana was healthier. Okay, that's how we got here. New York ain't had the depth, ain't had the mentality to be able to execute late. You saw boys was tired this last game, like tired. Cat gave you 30 burger game 5 and then was just like,
I don't know what you want me to do. And then kind of on that, like I think I read somewhere, and that might have been in Game 5, where I think, uh, wow, why did I just blank on the center? I'm tripping.
hmm,
Mitchell Robinson. Wow, I blinked. I think they said he was playing like 11 of the 12 first the quarter minutes in Game 5, and like the man was looking gassed out there on the court. It might have been one of these games this year, but he played so much in Game 1 or in that first quarter and was like gassed. And you got to look at a guy like Mitchell Robinson. Like he doesn't necessarily need to be the one that's playing like the bulk of the minutes in the first quarter. Like you got a rotation for a reason. Like be able to kind of like
yeah, yeah, but there's a reason for that. He earned that spot with his defense in Boston. And so, you see that and you go, well, if he's working here, then it could work the next round, right?
understandable, but it's again, it's like we talk about. It's a completely different series. It's a completely different set of guys that you're having
Yep.
out there. You got
Yep.
him and Cat going up against Miles Turner and Pascal, which and Obi Top Obi. Listen,
Yeah, I
Obi
thought we.
Toppin. You want to talk about underrated in this series, but also
Yeah.
I know the Knicks feel sick right now because no, I say that because there was a shot. I forget which game it was. Like, and I'm going back and forth with all this. Where he pretty much put the dagger in that game. I forget what game it was. It was a big time three, and I'm just sitting here like, damn, New York. I bet y'all wish y'all had somebody like that on y'all team right now. Like the fact of the matter is, like, you got a guy like Obi Toppin that's become such a key piece for this team, and like he pretty much helped put the Knicks to bed in this
That was
series in a
game.
couple of these
That was game
games.
3, I think.
Okay, yeah, that's what it was.
I was like, I was sitting there like, yeah, you're right.
I'm like, but you look at a guy like that who we got traded to, the Pacers and whatnot, and like you look at how he's been impactful in this series, and there's so much that Indiana has to offer with with this team and everybody that they have, and we'll probably get into this a little bit later. You're looking at Pascal, who is the only guy on this roster that has a title,
Yep.
who's been to well, okay, if you
Rick.
want to include Thomas Bryant,
Well, what about Rick Carlisle?
okay, from a player
Okay.
standpoint.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so yeah,
Okay.
um, but obviously he's been that guy that's been in these moments, so he knows what's going on. Um, and then like I said, the fact that he was able to win conference finals MVP, which to me, and this is no shade to Pascal. I got all the love and respect for him. I put the way the vote was split in the chat, like it was literally down the middle, 4-5. Like it was razor thin. Like it was that close. So I mean, it could have gone either way. I think the fact that Tyrese kind of had a bit of a clunker game in game 5 might have been part of the reason why he didn't win it. But again, that's just kind of how my thought process is. Like Pascal pretty much played out of his mind the whole series along with Tyrese. So I'm not mad either way. But it's the fact that you look at a guy that has been here before,
Mm.
who has that championship pedigree, who has that mentality. He
Yep.
knows what to expect going into this final series. So, and then we'll probably get into the prediction stuff later. But I feel like he is that guy that was needed for them to get over this hump to make sure that they are ready.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, this is going to be a hell of a beast because this is OKC, who's pretty much been running through everybody this season like a buzzsaw, with the exception of Denver.
Denver.
They
Yep.
went 7 games, but
That's yep.
if you look at how they played everybody else, they swept the first round. Denver was 7 games, and Minnesota was 5.
Okay, okay, okay.
So
I think
Pascal knows what's coming up.
so. So to start out, I mean, when is it started with OKC? Okay, yeah, did they dominate? Of course, but also, did some of those teams just kind of fall asleep at the wheel? Minnesota fell asleep. I'm sorry. As good as they were against the teams that they played against, they executed and accomplished above their standard. There's a reason why they were the 7th seed, 6th seed. Sorry,
6, yeah.
6th seed. There's a reason why they were the 6th seed. Okay, is because they had stretches of where they were doing well, and I said watch out for Minnesota, right? Because they are a sleeper team and they can knock out your favorite team, your favorite player's favorite team. Okay, whatever. Knock out us, knock out the Warriors. We didn't deserve to be there. So what? But Houston's not there for a reason. Got slept on. Slept on the team that was in front of them. Denver is the only other team home from the start of the season to the last game that they were able to play in these playoffs that we said, if it's not anyone else, it's going to be them. And they kind of proved that by being the only team that really pushed OKC. I mean, we got 7 games out of that series, right? But I think it's hard for a team like Denver, and then we're still talking about how we got here, for a team to be able to go 7 games in the previous series and then 7 games in this series with the team that was constructed and firing their head coach
3
10
days
days.
before, 3 games before the season ended.
Something.
Like, it was right before the playoffs, and I'm like, that's ugh.
Guys, to talk about what you mean you cancel my order that was supposed to be on the way. It said it was in transit. What do you mean you canceled my order? How can you cancel an order for something that you don't have that I'm supposed to have right now?
And I
That's
didn't even,
wrong.
I didn't even think about that till just now, where you said that both of the Clippers, the Nugget series went 7 games. I just looked at it as like, damn, yeah, they went 7 with the Clippers, they went 7 with OKC.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, damn, how much more could you have been able to give in the conference finals and even going to the finals? Like, yeah, who's to say that Hell, they played. Did they play Denver last year? Did they play Minnesota last year in the playoff? Denver.
Denver played Minnesota, and that's the reason why Denver wasn't there.
Yeah. Okay. So that's another thing. So it's like you look at what Ant would have been able to do against Denver, possibly in the conference finals. Would that have been another 7 game series? And then it's like, let's say hypothetically Denver gets there. How much do they have left in the tank? Because you're still looking at Aaron Gordon, who was hobbling in Game 7 on one leg, and yet still gave more of an effort than most of the other guys that were
Oh,
relatively healthy.
I don't understand. Like sometimes, like okay, that is when you talk about playing with an injury. Aaron Gordon playing with his hamstring uh, tied together with bubble gum and dental floss over over Damian Lillard playing and being rushed back from the blood clots. Okay, I say that. I say put it like that because like yeah, it just goes to show with Denver they didn't get it tomorrow. So now you get the whole off season either way to do that. But if like I think survival, yeah, we wouldn't have gotten such a quality opponent versus Minnesota. But with the way that Minnesota showed up for the Western Conference Finals, I strongly believe that Denver would have survived enough games to have Aaron Gordon back and rested enough to play at least in a couple of them. And shout out to him improving his 3-point shot, one of like 4 players that from returning championship teams that improve where the player improved their 3-point shot. And more importantly, what's the difference in between these teams winning and not? Okay. Aaron Gordon's 3-point shot. We stopped talking about Michael Porter Jr., their 3-point guy. We stopped talking about him. That's how much Aaron Gordon improved his 3-point shot.
Mm.
So for the coaches and the coaching staff, shout out to y'all. If Edelman was part of that, shout out to him. Joe says LKC team defense like a meat grinder. That's why these other teams dropped the ball a little bit. They didn't want to work for it, and they didn't really had no answer for it. I mean,
Hmm.
I don't know. I would not tell that to Aaron Gordon because he came out there. He said, "I got one more in me, coach. One more," and that's all he had. But that's how we got here. OKC went through the teams that they did. Um, And here we are, OKC versus Indiana. And I think that we got the right teams in because we asked for. Are you breathing all hard? Because it's cold. All right. You go ahead and say hi. Waving hi. Wait, right here, right here. There you go. That's how you do it. All right, we're gonna talk about this real quick. Tyrese Halliburton thought he was gonna get it. Pascal Siakam said, "I am the MVP now." Shout out to account on X J Kim for doing the cartoon drawing of that, man. That was raw. Conference Finals MVP, SGA got MVP. Okay, rightfully so. Conference MVP and MVP. Done. He did what he was supposed to do, right? But Pascal Siakam getting that vote. We were talking about it a little bit earlier, Rico. Touch on that a little bit. Why you thought that Ty should have got it?
I mean, and maybe this is just me kind of looking at the entirety of the playoffs as a whole, or maybe not just this series. But I look at just how he was able to kind of just have those moments throughout the entirety of the series. Like, I understand Game 5 was a bit of a clunker. I mean, I think he's finished with like 6 points, but you look at was it Game 1 where he hit that shot to send him to OT, which he thought was a game winner. But that to me set the tone for the rest of the series, and I just felt like him like playing the way he did the entirety of the series, like that to me was just like, yeah, okay, this is the conference finals MVP. Like he played so far out of his mind, like because nobody. I mean, we've seen him play last year, but like looking at the lead that he took this year in the playoffs, I'm just like the the path that he's going on just the entirety of this series. Like he's been able to like have those moments where he's I'm trying to figure out how I want it. I don't want to use the word or I don't want to use the word aura, but I feel like I'm gonna use it here anyways. Like he's been able to have that mentality, that aura about him throughout the entirety of these playoffs, with the whole thing of like, oh, the freaking Reggie, he freaking did the Reggie Miller choke at the
Choke.
end of game one. He did the Sam Cassell like celebration early in the playoffs. Like these moments and stuff that he's had have just been bar none. And like he's been able to kind of help elevate this team to new heights to the
Yes,
finals this year.
yes.
And again, like I'm not mad that Pascal won it. Like I'm not gonna say and be like, what? This is a
Yo,
great like it's not that deep.
right.
Right.
No, okay. So I was looking at the votes. The votes are they look like for the people that watched the game from home and the people that were there. Reggie was going to give Ty his vote from the jump, from that one moment of okay, that was it. He hit the shot, which again, I think that Tyrese Halliburton, even if he doesn't he doesn't get conference finals MVP, I'm gonna just tell you right now, Ty, like that's a piece of hardware that just takes space in your cabinet. It collects dust. It's absolutely not important at all. Ask Andre Iguodala, okay? But it's green. Mm-hmm. But the thing is that the difference in between the two winning it was the people that were watching it from home and the people that were there at the game. I mean, it's hard to argue against them voting for Pascal as MVP, because Pascal did have big games to win a couple of those games in this series alone. Pascal did have a huge 36 point game 5 to help push the series to 3-1. I think that was the Pascal Siakam game, and he's had a couple of games.
I know he had 39 in game 2. I know that much. I'm
He's
not.
had some big games, so I think stat wise, I think that's where you go. Yeah, I can see how you did that if you were just looking at the stat sheet. But man, like it feels like Halliburton just kind of like, you want to talk about aura. I think that's for Aura Farms. And for the old heads that don't know, when we have the barbershop talk, y'all not talking about Pascal Siakam because Tyrese Halliburton does the Sam Cassell or does the Reggie Miller, and that gets y'all talking. Y'all don't care about Pascal in the midst of Tyrese Halliburton scoring drought, that he's the reason that they can go to, because he has the mentality of a champion, and he's the one that's digging this team out of their scoring drought when their 20-point lead shrinks to 12 or 8 against New York. Okay, he's the reason why that's the facilitator in the middle of some of that, or the reason why you don't have to worry about Jalen Brunson starting to go on a tear in the third and the fourth. I think that those guys, a couple of those guys, some of the writers, in fact, I think one of the writers for the Indianapolis Star voted for Pascal, if I'm not mistaken. And when the writer of your own of the paper that is popular for Pacers basketball votes the other guy instead of Halliburton, the proverbial star of the team, I think that shows two things. A, that person may have looked a little bit more into basketball and was receiving different information than what we saw on TV from the big moments. Like I said, when Halliburton comes alive, again, that shot that he hit, that fadeaway to send it to overtime instead of that, as toe on the line, still next level types of insanity. Okay, like I would not trust Tyrese Halliburton with my kid because I don't know what kind of uncle he's gonna be. I'll have her flipping off the rooftop
Ain't no
and stuff
telling.
like that. That's the next level of insanity that shot was. How do you how do you have the shot available when you create the space and then just Fred Flintstone your way to the 3-point line, looking with a smile on your face, sounding like Michael Jackson, hee hee, tiptoe out to the 3-point line and then just shoot a fadeaway like this gonna go in.
So even going back and looking at that shot and talking about like the interview with that, like he said he was ready to go to the cup and take a three, take a like a layup. But when he was driving to the basket, I think Mikal got a piece of the ball, so he had to kind of catch it and readjust. So he didn't feel like he was gonna have enough time to actually get the shot up. So that's why he tiptoed back and tried to get the three. Which in hindsight, I get it, but like I
Now
don't know. I
these
have to go back and look at the clip, but like I saw it in slow mo. Like Mikhail got a piece of it and he lost it for a split second, and he's like, "Oh damn, I got
that
to get
makes
this."
it
And to say, "Screw it,
worse.
I'm gonna just
That
go
makes
big
it
or go home."
worse. McCall is literally in the next county. Okay. That's how far he shook him. I don't care what McKell got. Okay. McKell is in the next county. You decided to drive 3 interstate freeways over and then decide to launch that thing up into NASA. All right. What? What? And the basketball gods almost said, sir, son, what are you doing? Where's he? Where's he going? It's like my daughter just took off right now to go find grandma right now. I'm like, where is she? Where did she go? She had all the opportunity right here. And that's where I'm
I
at.
I
I'm
honestly
like,
wish that game would have been in Indy when he hit that shot. Cause I know how that atmosphere. I wish I knew how that atmosphere would have been. Like the fact that it was in New York and you could hear a pin drop was masterful. But if that shot was in Indianapolis, oh, oh my God, I that's just something I had in my head though. But
hold on for a second, Rico. I'll be right back.
and then just as a heads up, everybody, he was talking about earlier the one of the beat writers for the Indianapolis Star, Dustin Doperak. Yes, he did vote for Pascal. So
All right, that's
you
what I
won't have
thought.
with that one.
That's what I thought. Um, and that's what kind of gets me right now. Okay, so I don't say that one writer was a split vote. The fact that it was 5-4. I mean, shout out to people being transparent. I like it. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
gonna sit here and say, "Oh, you got it wrong," because it doesn't mean anything. The East Conference MVP doesn't mean anything. Like it means you were the best player in the entire conference, okay, or the conference the conference final.
That
So this
series, yeah.
is congratulations, man. But if that makes you feel some type of way, I don't think that's gas for anything. I don't think that you should be using it for anything because to be honest, at the end of the day, if you don't get the Larry O'Brien, congrats. All right, Pascal. Yes, you got conference final every. Like he's gonna look at that and be like, "This don't mean nothing to me. I got a ring for a reason." Several bounces around the rim and into the cup. You got a ring. You didn't get a ring because you a champion, Pascal Siakam. You had Kawhi there. Let's not BS it, okay? Y'all think was it Masai Ujiri? GM Toronto. Look, listen. Championship DNA has execution, a little bit of luck, and you have to be able to take your moments and do that consistently. If you fall in any of those categories, if you don't take advantage of the luck aspect, Tyrese Halliburton, if you don't take advantage of the individual moments, then you just gonna end up watching from Cancun like the rest of us.
Mm.
That's how we got here. We got on the West SGA. Okay, cool, done. All right, and then on the East we have this insanity. This was nuts. the videos, Knicks fans, how you feeling right now? That's what I want to know. Rob Perez, host of Worldwide Rob on Sirius XM, likes to go on X and have safe spaces for when teams get eliminated. And I want I sir, the comment section, if you guys follow him, the comment section of Safe Space Let It Air Out, Knicks fans
Boy.
are you can hear the Tims sizzling on the concrete and the roaches walking around tap dancing on the mugs. You knew the basketball gods were like, and the NBA was like, oh, this is the city that you're gonna give us? Bet. When they video leaked of them fans swarming and throwing trash bags at dudes on the street. Oh, when they the video that resurfaced of them attacking Brian Windhorst
Oh,
going to work.
yeah. Dude was like, yeah, I don't care. Nixon.
I knew it was over. I knew it was over right there. And then the dude that was walking around in the Tyrese Halliburton jersey in New York, and the fans were like, well, he was walking around in the Halliburton jersey. Y'all ain't even played each other yet.
That's the thing about that. I'm like, yo, this man is minding his business. And y'all over here, like, all right, I understand giving him crap because he's walking around in a Pacers jersey, cool. But throwing trash bags at him?
Come
That's
on.
assault, bro. That's assault. And now look who got the last laugh. Y'all at home with us. And he's going to the finals.
Yeah. Knicks fans, you should thank yourselves. Y'all the reason why that ball dropped in the cup like it did. Y'all the reason we talking about this man like we talking about him. Knicks fans, the Pacers being in the finals is y'all fault. y'all have to chill for one series. That's 10 days. Y'all have to chill for 10 days. Y'all tell me y'all can't chill for 10 days. Y'all just went through COVID, okay? Wilding out in your high-rise shoebox apartments out there. Y'all had a year hiatus, a year and a half, year two hiatus. Y'all changed mayors, okay? Everyone outside now. Everyone back to doing regular things. And y'all sitting there. We thank you guys for the Boston series. As Lakers fans, we thank you. Okay? You did what you were supposed to do. Shout out to Clyde Frazier. Clippers versus Lakers, 73. But then y'all fans got ahead of yourselves. Y'all drank the Kool-Aid. Y'all sipped the pissy water that y'all sleep over. And you decided to wild out in the streets before anything could even be celebrated. And you won 2 games thanks to Cat, not Brunson. Thank goodness you guys got a knowledgeable GM that decided to acquire at least some talent. The fact that the Minnesota Timberwolves won one of their first games because of Julius Randle says a lot more about what y'all had and y'all gave away. Rico told y'all. You gave away Obi Toppin. And he came back along with Tyrese Halliburton and said, we're going to form like Voltron and stomp these motherfuckers out. We got some Tims too.
He brought that energy with him.
You know what? Someone should have did. It was like, oh, you guys have Bodega Cat. We got a Caitlin Clark. It's over. It's over. If for anyone out there that's thinking that this is going to be a bad-ish series, not a series to watch, stop watching basketball. Period.
Thank you.
The basketball that we're going to get this series, the basketball that we got in this entire playoffs is the basketball that I've been pleading for the last 2 seasons. They did the rule changes as far as fouls are concerned. They started implementing more zone. They started locking down more on traveling calls. The scoring has gone down significantly. You don't win with just a 3, and having a big man matters. Did I get all the check boxes right? I think I did. Yeah, there may be some series where a specific ref being involved may have implemented and may have changed the outcome of the series. Yeah, the NBA may be playing around a little bit to try to get the teams that they wanted in there. But why would they want two small market teams? We got basketball to watch, y'all, and it's going to be insane. Before we get too much to that and we give our predictions and a look ahead, I want to go ahead and formally congratulate our TSA prediction bracket challenge champion, Rico.
Wait, how? There's what? Do you see who I picked? You saw who I picked to win. How?
It doesn't matter who you pick to win. None of us got our winners right. None of us. Okay. All right. I got like 5 groups I'm in. Okay. None of us got our winners right. We all picked the same winners. All right. Even Iggy picking if Iggy had got Denver right, to go to the Western Conference Finals, he would have won. God. That's the difference. Okay. That was the difference. It was the first and second round. Like all of our teams just started dropping out like flies, and it was just like, nope. It's like watching your March Madness bracket is like watching it blow up in the first round, the first night. That's what it was. Like you saw the Lakers come out and have that poor first game performance, and it was like, oh, I picked these motherfuckers as champions. Whoops. Sorry. Well, there goes my money. This is light that on fire. So yes, congratulations, sir.
Okay, I'll
give
take
you
that.
3 minutes to talk about how you feel about.
I mean, cool. I appreciate it. I still am trying to figure out how, but again,
it's like, wait a minute, why did I win?
I'm legit trying to. Now I'm trying to see if I can pull up my bracket. Like what?
I did what?
I guess it's from a point standpoint, though, isn't it? That's what it
is. Baby, hey, there's some dude from Clearinghouse over here talking about that we want $1 million check. You send that way to some envelopes and some stamps or something like that. What you do?
I don't know, man. Like, hey, cool. I appreciate it. I got some basketball knowledge, but clearly not enough to predict the finals, but enough to win a bracket challenge. So sure, like I really don't know, bro.
Yay.
I'll take it.
If you guys participate in these things, you too can backdoor your way into some money. So we got some money coming your way, sir. Congratulations. We'll do a recap on that. But yeah, if you guys want to get into this type of thing next season, you got to make sure to tune into the show because we'll put that info out there so that way you guys can participate too. Shout out to Iggy for also participating. He picked Denver to win it all, and he was further along. He was closer than both of us at that one point, and it just took a hamstring injury in order to knock him out of the challenge, which is crazy because nobody had a conference participant.
Yeah,
that's mind-blowing to think about. We were all collectively drinking the Denver Kool-Aid, and it took a hamstring injury for everyone to be like, oh damn, okay. So shout out to OKC fans.
I picked the Clippers to beat the. What was I thinking? Anyways,
I think it was my fault because I picked the Clippers to beat the Nuggets too, and they almost hit me.
All right. Anyways,
all right. We got about 30 seconds left. We got, let's see, Joe, Champ DNA, being able to find a way to make your opponent weak and then taking advantage of it along with all that other stuff. Yes, all the other stuff I said. We got about 30 seconds left. Okay, real quick look ahead at OKC Indiana. Just off top, and then we're going to talk about it on the next show. Rico, who you got? Just quick pick. OKC or Indiana?
Vibes alone, I'm going to go with the Pacers. Like, Team of Destiny. Call me crazy, but give me the Pacers. I'm
gonna go with the front runner. Front runner is always going to be a front runner. I'm going to pick OKC. We see what they've been doing all year. I think that everyone has done exactly what they needed to. They went through the teams that they needed to get ready for this game. Guys, listen. Again, not enough show to get through everything. We are done right now, but we are not done. This is the first half of a 2-part show. You guys need to tune in Wednesday. We got a lot to do, and I'm going to be in Vegas on Thursday. So we need to address that situation because y'all remember the last time what happened when I was in Vegas? We had fun. LeBron James first points, Yeah, I know y'all cashed on that. We're gonna do something similar. I'm gonna get my boy in there. We're gonna throw up some videos and stuff like that. But that Wednesday night is super important for you guys to tune in, tap in, and weigh in. Okay. We're gonna be taking some of your questions, some of your comments, some of the things that you are looking at as far as predictors, bets, lines, all that good stuff. This is the TSA Hoop Show. Rico, we're gonna see you, man. Congrats again. Money coming your way, man. We're going to post the tickets and all that good stuff. Until then, love, peace, chicken grease. It's the NBA Finals, y'all. We here now. We
We here,
out here.
y'all.
Oh, shout out to Angel Reese, by the way. For no other reason. Just shout out to Angel Reese. Peace.